Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on Cheer to Beers. Not going to be much video in this one. I'm going to test out a new series. What I would like to do is just update you on a little bit more of my, my everyday life as far as beer goes, and also I want to cover a lot of beer news. I noticed that there's a ton of breweries popping up, a lot of new things happening, and I just want to get that information out there of what is going on, and I'm going to. I'm not going to try to cover everything. I'm just going to try to cover the big stories that people probably want to hear about out there. I'm not going to worry about the small little town stuff. And since I live in Ohio, I probably will actually do, maybe some stuff just catered towards Ohio breweries, the Ohio brewing scene and stuff like that. This first one, I'm just going to start with some, some news that's been popping up recently in the beer world. Most recently, the one thing that I heard actually. The Brewers Association posted this, and it was actually pretty cool to hear. At the end of 2013, we now have over 2,722 brewing facilities in the United States. That is their total number registered. I'm assuming that's registered Brewers Association, which I don't know if you have to be or not, but 2,722 brewing facilities in the U.S., and that was an increase from almost 400 from the end of 2012. I know that number is going to keep going up, but some people have talked about maybe a bubble, there being too many breweries, and I don't know if that can happen. I feel like maybe in the bottling world, in the store world, that can happen, but I think every town could use a micro brew pub, the gastro pub or something, a brewery in their hometown that they can call their own, and just a nice place to go. For me, in the area, I work at Buckeye Lake Brewery, and there's also Weasel Boy Brewery, but the times I don't have time to go to those places since I work, in the evenings, and the Weasel Boy's actually closed on my days off, so there's not a lot of options for me in the area that I'm in, so I end up driving to Columbus, where there are a lot of breweries, and visiting those. I mean, I love to go to them, but it would be nice to have something 5 minutes down the road that I could just call my own little pub, and I think that would be something pretty cool for every little town. So I'm sure the brewery is going to keep popping up, and I hope they all succeed. Another one kind of funny story that came upon the other day is someone I think sent it to me on Facebook. That Jelly Belly Candy Company, obviously the one who makes jelly beans, they are producing a draft beer flavored jelly bean. And when I first heard that, I'm like, oh great, it's going to be this clear yellow jelly bean that just tastes like crap, I guess. was kind of just, I'm like, oh, okay, they're not going to do anything special. But after reading into it, they actually went with a German style beer, a Hefeweizen. I was really surprised. That's probably actually a very good flavor to go for instead of anything else. You maybe do a stout with the chocolate and roasty stuff, but the Hefeweizen is to me it's pretty interesting because you can get that Belgian estery banana clove kind of thing going on, and I'll probably pick some of those up. I was pretty skeptical at first, but interested to hear about that, and we'll definitely, like I said, be picking some of those up. A story that I heard, this might not apply to everyone, but I'm pretty excited about, because lately the trend has been really high ABV, huge amount of hops, huge amount of bitterness, big imperial stouts, barrel age, stuff that's like 10% above it just seems to be very popular, and I think the trend is actually now moving toward the more sessionable beers, and I think this year we're going to see a lot of sours coming out. But the session beer is what I'm interested in. I recently started home brewing, and I'm trying to do beers that are between 4 and 4.5% to start out with, and then moving my way into the higher ones. But I want to find a beer that I can just make and be my session beer, that in the summer, if I want a beer, I can drink 2 or 3 of, and not be completely slammed or something like that. But basically, the news is actually from Founders Brewing Company. It says they're taking their all-day IPA, which was most recently in a 12-pack of cans, and moving it to a 15-pack of cans, which is pretty cool. And the cool thing is they're actually not even raising the price. So I'm not sure how much it runs for the 12-pack. I imagine it runs about 15 to 17. So maybe a little more, actually. It might be closer to 20. But either way, you're paying about a little over $1 for a can of that beer. It's pretty nice. It's actually, I'm pretty sure it's 4.7% ABV, a session IPA. had it before. They use a good mix of hops, Simcoe and Amarillo. Very, very good stuff. I think I actually reviewed that on my channel. I didn't get it a high rating, but I think now if I reviewed it, I would probably give it a very high rating just because I'm starting to get more into those session beers, especially the session IPAs. And it's kind of funny here that founder said they're calling this one the Brewer's Dozen, which is a pretty cool thing. So if you're looking for a sessionable beer to grab in cans for camping or whatever, I just love craft beer in cans anywhere. Definitely would probably be a good choice to go pick some of that Founders All Day IPA up, 15 pack. Sounds pretty sweet. And the last bit of news I'm going to talk about, and then I'll go on for a little bit more, but a Trappist brewery opening in the United States. And most recently, there have only been 8 Trappist breweries, and they're not obviously not in the United States. But it's not like you just can call yourself a Trappist brewery. You actually have to go through, I don't know if it's a process or what it is, but you can't just call yourself one. You have to be like deemed a Trappist brewery. It's monks, something with the monks, the abbey, everything like that. And there's going to be one opening up in, I think it says, yeah, Massachusetts, Spencer, Massachusetts. And what the name says, the Spencer Brewery. I don't know if that'll change, but a 50,000 square foot brewery was applied to be rezoned back in 2011 under the name the Spencer Brewery, is what this article says. So, interesting to see that. I'll probably check it out. For me, a lot of the Trappist beers are not something that's I really love, like Chimay, Rochefort, Orville, Westmalle, Westfalen, stuff like that. It's good to me, but it's not great. Maybe it's just the style, something I'll enjoy drinking for sure, but it's not like my top of the list of beers. And I don't know, maybe this American one, I could see them, maybe trending towards some of the American like trends as far as craft beer goes, maybe doing some interesting beers. But being a Trappist brewery, they'll probably stick more to traditional Trappist beers, but still to have one in the United States is really, really cool. That is, there were only 8 before. I think this will make 9, and the 9th one being in the United States. I think is really, really awesome. I think it just shows how popular the beer scene is getting in the United States, which is to me growing immensely, and it's probably not going to stop anytime soon. So, yeah, guys, for this segment, that was just a little, preview of what I'm gonna do. But I'm basically just gonna cover all these news stories, and just leave me some comments what you think about these. We can go back and forth and talk about what's going on and stuff like that. And then lately, personally, Hop Slam just came out. That's another big one for me every year. I know last year I posted my review. Wasn't as impressed as I had been in previous years. I actually got contacted by Bell's last year about that review, and they asked if I could send them a bottle. So I sent them a bottle of the beer, and so they could test it. That's what they told me. And in return, I didn't expect anything. They sent me a couple Bell's pint glasses, some stickers, some coasters, a thank you letter, and all that stuff, which was really, really awesome. Glad they did that. Really good customer service from Bell. So this year, Hop Slim came out. It was actually it was the 19th, January 19th, a bar called the Pint Room in Dublin. Awesome place in Columbus. They tapped a keg before anyone in the Columbus area, basically. I don't know how they got it, but they got it early and tapped it at 4 o'clock. We showed up about 3:50. There was a half-hour wait to get a table. The bar was completely packed. Luckily, we had a server come up and get us, take our order as we were, standing there. And I just told him I wanted Hop Slam. He said, well, it's going to be a while because everyone's ordering it. So they bring the tap handle out for Hop Slam. People started chanting. And, they pulled that tap open and poured almost, they said almost 100 glasses before even closing the tap. And it was crazy to see. You got raffle tickets. I ended up drinking 2 Hop Slams. We got some more stickers, some chapsticks, some coasters, a poster, all kinds of stuff. And actually, the first 20 people got a Hop Slam glass. I was kind of bummed that I didn't get that, but it was a great time. So I came home, posted on Facebook, and just said how cool it was that they tapped it early and how good their customer service was. And I don't know who was the owner. Someone messaged me back and said, hey, glad to hear that. If you want to come back in, we're glad to give you a pint glass or a Hop Slam glass, which is a big 16-ounce snifter. And I'm like, oh man, it was so awesome. I was really excited. So this year I got a free glass from them. And the day after that, I went to the store and bought two 6-packs and drank one bottle at a bar of Hop Slam. I have maybe one 6-pack left. I've been drinking one or two a day since I bought it. But it seems like I always get something out of the Hop Slam release every year. But for me, that's my most recent thing in beer. Lately, I've been just traveling to Ohio breweries and things like that. So at the end, I'm just gonna ask you guys to leave some comments. Comment on all the news stories, and then maybe do something special. Everyone, think of the top 3 beers you enjoyed from 2013, and post them in the comments. Maybe I'll put a list together and read them through in the next video that I do with the news and everything. So post them up there. And I'll try to give some shout outs to some people who posted their top 3. So pick top 3 from 2013, what you thought. So guys, if you have anything you want me to chat about, talk about, any questions you want me to answer, just let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.